Well, you've seen the ads and heard the terms. The tar sands, Alberta's dirty oil, Canada's most embarrassing secret. My next guest says the campaign against Alberta oil is not based on the environment after all. Vivian Krause is a writer and researcher. She's joining us in studio. Thanks for being here.
Hey, thanks. Great to be here.
So you've looked extensively into the campaign against Alberta oil and found a lot of it is funded by American money. Where specifically is that coming from and why?
Okay. Well, thanks for having me on. So the reason, as you know, today, Alberta oil is getting something like $17 a barrel, okay? The rest of the world is getting something like 70.
We talk about this differential a lot. Yeah.
This is going to cost Alberta billions of dollars next year, right? So the reason for that is because we don't have pipelines to get to the oceans so that Alberta oil could get on tankers and go to global markets. So Alberta is stuck with selling to oil to the U.S., which of course most Albertans know about this, right? Now the reason that Alberta is stuck is because Alberta hasn't been able to get a new pipeline. And the reason for that is a campaign. It's called the Tar Sands campaign, and it's been running now for 10 years.
And we've all seen this, the Greenpeace and dirty oil, and you know, the ads with the ducks. And, so who is funding that campaign then, that tar sands campaign?
Okay, well, there's actually a document, the original strategy paper for the campaign that anyone can read. And it's posted online, and just Google the Tar Sands campaign at Corporate Ethics. So that was originally funded by a philanthropic organization called the Rockefeller Brothers Fund. And of course, it's created with the funding from the wealth of the famous oil family, right, the Rockefellers. So the Rockefellers and other American charitable foundations, most of them from California, they fund two organizations. One is called the Tides Foundation in San Francisco, and the other is called the New Venture Fund in Washington, D.C. These organizations then divvy out the money. So I've traced about $90 million over the last 10 years that has gone for various efforts to restrict oil and gas development and export from Alberta. The problem that I see with this is that they're trying to cap and restrict Alberta production, but there's no such campaign in Texas. So I think that's what we've got to think about. Now, I'm sure that the reason that they're doing this is because of the environment and because of climate-related problems, right? But the trouble is that it's not helping the environment because the oil, if it doesn't come from Alberta, it's just coming from some other country. And as we know with the oil price war, in fact, we're using more oil than ever. You know, we use as a planet about 1,000 barrels of oil every second. It's an enormous amount of oil. So I think there's nothing wrong with rethinking how we use our oil, but this campaign isn't helping because all it does is bully Canada, bully Alberta, you know, bench Alberta out of the global market, but it does nothing to reduce overall global oil use.
And is some of that about protecting American economic interests at the expense of Canadian economic interests?
I actually don't think so. You know, I think what happened is this campaign goes back about 15 years, actually. And I think that there was this group of billionaire philanthropists in California. And they got together. This was right after the beginning of the Iraq War and the California energy crisis. And I think they decided to you know, get control of their own domestic energy policy. So they started a whole suite of initiatives. I'll talk about this more tonight in my talk. But so all of the efforts to landlock Western Canadian crude, they all go back to around 2003, 2004. And I think they have 4 goals, 3 of which are great. Renewable energy, energy efficiency, energy security, that's all good. But it's the 4th goal, this idea of keeping Canada out of the global market. That's where I think we need to bring an end to this campaign, because unless we do, I don't see much hope really for any pipeline, frankly.
Wow. Interesting stuff. I could ask you a million more questions, but we'll let people know where that talk is. Vivian Krause, thank you.
Thank you.
If you want to hear more, Vivian has a ton to share. She's done a lot of research. She's giving a presentation tonight at the Arts Barns. It's at 5:30. It's free. And she'll also be in Fort McMurray on Thursday at the Quality Hotel and Conference Center. I'll put the details and the links out on social media and just give either of those a Google as well.